Hi, good evening. How are you? I hope you're good. How's your day been? What day even is it? I'm not sure. Is it? It's Tuesday, isn't it? Yes, Tuesday. So I have had a day with my boys. We've been out cycling, and can you tell that I was poor at putting my own sun cream on? You put it loads on your kids, and I was just like, quick, blub, 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 and I don't think I've done this bit. But it's going to rain tomorrow, so I'm sure it'll be fine. It's not the best. It's quite warm. So I'm enjoying a beer because it is beer o'clock. But yeah, a bit later tonight coming live. I thought I would see what time people's routines sort of fall into and whether or not we get any more people watching live. So if you are hopping on, please say hello. So tonight I'm in my youngest's room. So as you can see behind me, it's a beautiful mural. It goes the whole way around the room. It's not just the wall behind me. I'm not going to show you a whole lot because the rest of it's messy. But yeah, it's quite tranquil actually in here, and it's the coolest and quietest place in the house right now while we're getting tea. So walk the talk, day 11, I think. So today is about money and money attitude, which yeah, really an interesting topic for me, and for my own journey this uncovered all sorts of things. So let's start with the coaching piece. How do I approach and coach the money attitude? So for me, money attitude it encompasses both your business and the way that you feel about money in your life generally, because how you have been used to living your life and how you've applied your principles to money, whether or not you feel that you're trustworthy with money, whether or not you're a bit risky with money and you're willing to invest in things and take risks, will play out in your business as well, because you'll start to see that there's influences across from one to the other. So in terms of establishing the first step, how I coach understanding your money attitude first is just taking a view, properly assessing where you are at the moment. So where on that scale are you? Are you really risk averse? So are you super cautious? Are you like a massive saver? Do you keep things for rainy days? Have you got pots of money in different places that you just feel comfortable and happy having squirreled away? Or are you one of those people that it comes in one day and it goes out the next? Or you want to invest, you spend quite quickly, you might take credit cards, you might be in debt. So where are you on that sort of scale? Because understanding that is really where you start with where you'll take that forward to your business. But the critical piece is how you feel about attracting money towards you. So if you have perhaps in the past got yourself into debt and you carry that with you as a negative, so you feel really bad about that, that might end up meaning that you feel as though you can't be trusted with money and that it's risky to be given money. And actually that then leads on to you sort of subconsciously avoiding situations where you might end up receiving more money. But actually there's a deeper thing to that, because actually the story beneath that is, well, if I can't be trusted with money and if I am not worthy of receiving that, well, how come the next person is? And why am I telling myself that story that I can't be trusted? If again, it's back to that belief piece, that if there are certain beliefs in your life around anything, it could be around money, it could be your ability to serve, it could be 101 things. But if you've got that story and that belief, you need to just have a think about whether or not it's true. And there is an exercise that I get my clients to do around their own beliefs. So we couldn't necessarily just sit down and write them all. We don't know them immediately unless they're massively dominant in our lives and they're playing a part and they're that inner voice that comes up every day. But actually when we start to push some boundaries and we take on new things and we start to hear different stories, that's when it starts to get interesting to note them. So quite early on in the process when I work with people, I give them a template to just have almost like by the side of them when they're working on anything, and particularly when they're working on that development piece, to actually start thinking about, wow, that's an interesting story that's come up. I'll note that down. So then you end up with a page of lots of these stories, and money is just one element of that. So you might have a story around money that already exists, but then the next stage is to consider whether or not that's true. So is that money story true or not? And if it is true, then obviously you need to have a think about, well, what can I do about that? How can I address that? What things can I put in place that mean it's no longer a risk to me? Or is it not true and I've just made up that story? But actually just having it down and you know, almost seeing it on a piece of paper, it suddenly becomes a lot less scary. It's like getting your child to look under the bed and, you know, there is no monster there. But if there is a monster there, it's not as scary now that you can see it. So let's take you through an example. So as a student, I took student loans and I spent them as everybody did. So when I left university, I left with the debt of that loan. And I didn't like the feeling of that loan. I felt as though I was sort of starting already with a deficit when I started working, and I felt really frustrated that I knew I'd be working for this amount of time to be able to pay off that debt. So that left me with a real negative about taking on debt and therefore taking risks. So I've gone through my life effectively avoiding taking on additional debt. Now that might be going into a credit card, going into overdraft limit, but actually there's times when that's really useful and you can get your life moving along, and you need to do it because you need to take on a certain thing to then be able to enable you to do something else. But I end up having that sort of icky feeling about it, which is absolutely an overhang. So if I was writing my own story, I would say, well, this limiting belief is that it's a negative thing to be in debt. Is that true or not? Well, no, it's not. It's not something that you want to spiral out of control. You need it to be in control. But actually, it's not true that I should never be in debt, because it kind of makes the world turn, doesn't it? And you know, I have a mortgage, which is the biggest debt most of us will ever have. So actually, the story isn't true. So then, if you move that into, well, okay, if it is true, Darla, hi, lovely to see you. If it is true, then what can I do about it? Can I do something that says, well, if I don't feel great about debt, then how can I either redress that debt in my mind, which means that I can then rationalise it, I can justify whatever I need to do with it. So going through that process of what is my belief and how is it formed? Is it true or not? So have I got other evidence that says it's true? And then if it is true, how can I do something about taking action around that? And there's lots of those that I get clients to work through. The other big thing that I see around money, and absolutely I'm still to this day guilty of this on some level or other, it's when I get to there, I'll reward myself by doing this. So when X, Y. Now I was just sharing with a friend today, because we went on a fab bike ride and then met in a park somewhere and had a chat, and I was talking to her about this on a very basic level, that I will even say that on a really small thing. So I knew I needed to replace a face cream, and I said to myself, well, I won't order it now because I'll wait until this has happened. And there was no need, you know, this wasn't a big purchase. I wasn't about to put the house at risk by buying it, but I create these almost, I think I'm rewarding myself for something. I do it when I'm trying to keep fit as well. So I'll say, well, you know, if I can know that I've worked out every day for 5 days, then I can reward myself by getting that face cream, or I can reward myself by spending this or doing it. You know, I'm constantly doing it. It's something I thought I was doing to motivate myself, but actually what I was doing was stopping myself allowing those things just to come into my life, because they were going to come into my life anyway. So I get that inner voice telling me, well, yes, but have you earned it? Should you this? Are you worthy for it? All rubbish. I am worthy of everything that I am worthy of. So, you know, I should receive with gratitude, and I should take those things. And that's a big piece around, you know, being open and being ready to receive. Because if we're in that energy where we're thinking, yeah, but I haven't achieved X and now Y's come along already, then that suddenly makes us feel really mismatched. And you know, what about if X comes along again? So another client pops up. Well, hang on, because I haven't got to that, and you know, the whole thing's out of kilter. You have to be ready and prepared to receive. And when you work for yourself, all of that piece around, if I do this amount of work, then I'll receive. All of that rules that you have when you're an employee and you're working for somebody else, all of those rules go totally out of the window, because you're not being paid for clocking in and clocking out. You're not being paid just to turn up anymore. So when I was an employee for 20 years of my life, and I would turn up every day and I'd do my thing and I'd do it as best I could. But if I'd had 2 weeks off and 2 weeks doing no work at all because I'd been on holiday, the money that landed in my bank account was still exactly the same because I was entitled to holiday pay. Or if I'd had a week off sick, or if I just had, do you know what, a week of feeling just a bit off, I'd turned up and I'd sort of done the thing, but I hadn't really done the thing, I still got paid the same amount at the end of that month. So it just becomes inherent that it just rolls in and it rolls on. Now, obviously, you need to do the minimum, otherwise your employer is going to start noticing and they're going to want to know why your performance isn't brilliant. But actually, when you work for yourself, it's a new set of rules. So you have to turn up, you have to do your thing, otherwise you're not going to be able to generate your income. So the rules that you'd set and the whole kind of getting paid for your time, all of those rules are now totally rewritten, and it is entirely up to you. So I said at the beginning, I've had a day today totally with my children. This is the first time that I have turned on my machine and looked at my emails and my work stuff. I've just been with my boys. Now, I didn't have to ask permission for that. I won't lose sales because of that. My business still turns. But I'm going to have to do some work later on. I'm going to have to, put some time aside, but it's all on my terms. And when you work for yourself, you've got to be in that position where you're able to say, I'm going to be able to earn on totally on my ground. I'm going to decide how much I want to put in and how much I want to get out. There are no, do this and you'll get this, do this and you'll get that. The rules are totally out of it. And you think now there's people doing just a few hours work a day and they are earning hundreds of thousands of pounds. So that's the new rules. That's the new world that you operate in when you have your own business. It's entirely up to you. So when we talk about the money mindset and the whole attitude towards money, it's really about letting go of some of that stuff that might be carried from a previous life. It might be what you're living now, but it's letting yourself both acknowledge them and then just letting them go and saying, no, it's fine. Working harder does not mean that you earn more. And I think, that for me, I struggled with that for a long time. I just thought if I put in all the hours and I do all the stuff and I'm constantly working and I'm constantly busy and I'm running at 100 miles an hour, then, that's when the earnings will come in. And the more I work, the more I'll earn. Totally wrong. The best ideas come to me now when I'm out on a morning for an hour on my own, just walking. And I'm walking, I'm exercising, I'm thinking, I'm just taking some time. That's when I get the best ideas. Not when I sit down at my desk and go, right, I need to come up with something. I need an idea. What's my idea? What am I going to do? That's not when the ideas come to me. And that's not when I'm fully turning up and fully serving my clients, because it's just forced then. I'm fully serving my clients when I know that I'm in the best place to serve them. So today it's because I've had lots of time out, I've had loads of fresh air, and I've met a friend and had a chat. That's the choice I've made. That's really where I want you to take this. I want you to take away the message that setting your money attitude is not something that you can just wake up and go, oh, there we go, I'm going to change my mind, I'm going to decide it's going to be this now. It takes time, but knowing what your attitude is now, and perhaps some of those stories that come with you from a previous life, knowing what they are, that's really where you start to recognise them. And if they're going to serve you, then brilliant, take them on. But if they're not, just leave them there, because that was the previous life, that was the previous you. So hopefully that makes some sense. I've enjoyed doing this today. I hope you are all going to have a really good evening. I'm going to go and finish my little beer and have some lunch with my children. No, tea, what do we call that now? Yeah, supper, I guess. And I will see you tomorrow for the next one. We've got day 12 tomorrow. Last thing to mention to you is that I've opened registration for my 5-day challenge. So in case you haven't seen the launch videos, I did a 3-day version of this back in the beginning of May and effectively ran out of time because there was so much more content I wanted to put on. I listened to the feedback from the people that were involved. They loved it. Lots of them have gone on to be clients and continue working with me because they loved what they saw and they saw the potential to grow a business for themselves. So this is a 5-day challenge. It's called Employed to Empowered Entrepreneur. So the idea of this is that we take you through a process where you understand that you've got a superpower, you've got a skill set already you can use, you can apply that to an online business and you can start to attract clients really, really quickly. There's a real mixture in there around getting your head in the right place, but also some of the practical stuff, because I love the strategy side, I love the action taking, I love the planning, all of that is my bag, but I totally get that you've got to have your head in the right place and maintain your head in the right place throughout. So 5 days of massive content, starting on Monday the 15th of June. There is a registration just purely so that you know where I'm going to be live, you get the updates, you get the summaries of the day, all of that sort of stuff. So please register. I would love to have you there. The more we have, the more of a buzz we get in the group. We had such a beautiful group of ladies last time. They were sharing things between themselves. I'll ask you questions. They were sharing, they were helping out one another. They ended up as like a little mini support group just within the challenge itself. So it's really a place of giving you a safe environment to explore your ideas, talk about what might be holding you back, and most of all, get you moving forward with massive action, getting your business started, making it a true business, not a hobby, so that you're attracting clients really, really quickly. So it'd be amazing to have you. 15th, register using the link that's all over this group, and I will see you tomorrow for the next Walk the Talk session. All right, it's been lovely to have you. See you later. Bye.